So welcome back for video number 2 to help you with your task today. So we're going to read through these problems together to kind of help you work through them. Let's start with problem number 1, where you are representing the perspective of a dictator. You are members of the government group that makes laws called the Assembly. The citizens in a country called Projectoria are highly dissatisfied with how their government is currently running. Through social media, it has become clear that more than 75% of the population supports a law that allows citizens to own their own businesses. However, the dictator does not support this law. What do you do? What do you do? How do you respond as the lawmakers in this country? All right, let's do problem number 2. We are representing the perspective of democracy. You are a representative in the lawmaking group called Congress for a country called Diversania. Some of the representatives have suggested that only citizens who own land should have the right to vote, but you are not sure this is fair. A survey demonstrated that more than 90% of the citizens are very against this change. What do you do? How do you, as a representative in this country, help prioritize citizens' rights? What do you do? Number 3, you're representing the philosophy of communism. You are the ruler of a communist country called Common Land. In this land, there is no private property. Everything is shared among all people. There has been peace in your country for many years under the rule of the Communist Party. However, more than 50% of citizens now support the Socialist Party and want to include the Socialist Party as an option that citizens can vote for during elections. What do you do in response? How do you respond as the ruler of a communist country? Alrighty, number 4. You are the monarch, which is the king or queen of a country called Romania. You have just been diagnosed, unfortunately, with a very serious illness, and you need to start training your successor. Who will be next in line for the throne in this particular situation? Who do you pick as your successor? Problem number 5 represents democracy again. In this situation, you are a member of, again, the Congress in Diversania. The citizens are really concerned that not all people are being treated equally. Even though Diversania's laws say that is required, citizens have to be treated equally. The citizens begin to march through the streets in protest, waving banners and chanting. What do you do? How do you respond as a leader of a democratic government? Problem number 6, dictatorship once more. You are again the dictator, actually, the actual leader in Projectoria. Citizens are not happy with how their previous concerns were addressed by the Assembly, the group that makes laws. They have started to march in the streets to protest. Sounds kind of like our last example. And they have started to gather inside of the building where the Assembly is in order to talk to lawmakers. How do you respond as a dictator in this situation? How do you respond as a dictator? So, your task for those of you at home is to pick 2 from these 6 problems to respond to as the government leaders represented in the problem. And when you've done that, you want to head back to Google Classroom in order to find a Google form called Answer Sheet for Digital Version. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to tell me which 2 problems you picked to respond to. Maybe you picked problem number 1, maybe you picked problem number 3, number 4, number 5, whatever works. And I want you to tell me, in that situation, how would you respond as that government leader? So tell me the problem that you picked. For example, maybe it was problem number 6, and tell me how would you respond to that problem as that leader for each of those 2 situations that you selected. So give me some basic notes. Don't worry too much about perfect spelling. Don't worry too much about big long paragraphs. Do your best. Send me your responses, and hopefully I will see you back in class soon.